Hey everybody, welcome to Pearls of Joy, Tru-Truth. I'm Joy. Today I am going to pick up where I left off from on part 2 of this. In that particular video, I was speaking about zero and how it is used to manipulate and shift the numerical 1 through 9 system. Now that I have reviewed zero, and if you haven't seen that particular video, you can go, and it is under Pearls of Joy, Tru-Truth, and it is titled Number 9, Universal Perfection and Completion. So as I continue on in this part of the video, I am going to explore the count of days, hours, minutes, and seconds according to the clock instrument. And by the way, the title of this is Clock Time is Not the Creator's Time. And also, I got questions and some answers. Are there 7 days in a week, or are there really 9 days in a week? Are there 12 months in a year, or are there 9 months in a year? According to the calendar or count that was given to us by our Creator, 36 is always the equation of 9, and each month have 4 weeks with 9 days each, which equates to 36. I'm going to get into that a little bit more as I continue. What is a day? A day is 2 segments of what is called day. Daytime is light time that starts with the rising of the sun, and nighttime is dark time that starts with the setting of the sun. Biblically, in the book of Genesis, it says that day is called light and dark is called night. Clock time is not the Creator's time. Clock time is the instrument created to mimic the vibrational frequency of time by tracking the sun pattern as it rises and sets from one dimension to the other. We've been taught that there are 24 hours in a day. Is that really so? If there are 24 hours in a day, why is there only so-called 12 hours on the clock? The number clock starts at the top with the number 12. And then it cycles downward from 12 a.m. or p.m. because it is used interchangeably, from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m., totaling 6 hours. Then it goes upward from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. again, totaling another 6 hours. Each number on the clock represents an hour. Example, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, etc. So how is it that we have 24 hours in a day, but the clock only displays 12 hours? There's tons of information on the internet and otherwise explaining how 12 hours are displayed on a clock, but it is counted as 24 hours. And I must say, it don't make much sense to me. Let's do a synopsis on the man-made clock system. Question: why does the clock divide time in half equally as an equinox on a circular instrument, splitting day and night horizontally down the middle, causing daylight time to be on the right side of the clock and dark time on the left side? Wouldn't it make more concrete sense for the day to be split vertically in the center, separating light time on the top and dark time on the bottom. Why? Because the sun rises at the beginning of the day from the east, up over the top of the earth, and it goes down below on the west side at the end of the light time of day. Here's a little side note. The expression o'clock, as in 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, refers to clock time. This is a quote from thereasonjunkie.com, retrieved by me on April of 2020. And the quote is, "It's 9 of the clock," which later became 9 o'clock. If you care to learn more about the clock system, I suggest starting with the sundial. That was also created by human. Search for an article titled "Sundial" in the Britannica Encyclopedia, and I'm sure you can find it other places as well. I mentioned foreigners as the originators of the clock system to make a point of the fact that the clock system was not in place from the beginning. I reiterate, the reason for this observation, is because all things in the earth is being restored as well as time. It is my hope that we will come back to understanding that the aborigines of these lands of America and others told time naturally by nature long before the foreigners came with their instruments. I will quote from a book I have titled "Basic Herbs for Health and Healing" by what's his name? Okay, let me get it right here. Okay, it is by Rashan Abdul Hakim, also known as Rudy Duckett. On page 19, titled "American Indians and Herbology," and I quote, "The Indians learned the value of everything in their environment through their instinctual sense and by living in close harmony with nature. They told time by the plants, the sun, and the stars, and forecast the weather with great accuracy. They drew exact maps of their surroundings without the aid of scientific instruments. They did not know the Latin names of the herbs, but they knew the power of the herbs and their function. I see many discrepancies in the foreigners' clock system. Clock time is not in true concert with solar time, nor is it in concert with lunar time. Clock time is condensed on an instrument created to show time according to manipulated, what I call man-polluted methods. Human-made clocks. Time is an illusion of time that is sometimes hung on a wall or wrapped around the wrist. That system is designed to keep the eyes of the mind in tune with the illusion of the clock time. Time that disconnects us from nature. The clock was designed using numbers and symbols to calculate and count hours, minutes, and seconds, creating a set system of days, weeks, months, and years. Foreigners had a masterful plan to control every system in the world, including time, making it their own, such as hours, HOURS, without the H. More on that later. The clock instrument separates time vertically by dividing between east and west, signifying daylight time on the east and nighttime on the west, along with other divisions such as noonday, midday, evening, and midnight. Daytime can only be calculated and seen when it is light time. The moon cannot be seen every night. It is of my opinion, based on observations throughout the years, the earth is cyclical. As above, so below. We are encapsulated in a dome. Reason earth is sometimes referred to as the kingdom. Water above and water below. Earth's cyclical sphere, the model shape of the man-made clock, is not an even measurement all around. A circle have different ranges of dimensions from top to bottom and side to side. A circle is narrow from the left mid-side across the top to the right mid-side. And the same thing as it goes down from the mid-sides of that cyclical instrument, it gets narrow as it goes down to the bottom. At that juncture, the mid-lower sides expands wider below the mid-side as it starts to narrow downward to the bottom. The variations of the dimensions of the Earth's measurements and the position of the sun during the solstice determines the reason days are longer and nights are shorter. During the summer days, days are usually longer and nights are usually shorter due to the energy, vibrational frequency levels due to the solstice season settings. I apologize for not having more visuals, but if you pay attention to the image that's on the screen, you'll see the clock has an hour hand, a minute hand, and a second hand. When I searched the meaning of those terms, hours, minutes, and seconds, I learned that the term hour from Strong's Concordance is sha'ah, from a root corresponding to H8159, properly a look, that is a moment. So here, this definition is telling us that the so-called hour is actually a moment, but the moments was changed to hours, as in our time. As I understand this definition, it is saying that a look is a moment. When we look at the clock, let's say it's 4 o'clock. It's only 4 o'clock for a moment when marking that hour. And after that particular moment, there's 9 seconds before it changes from that one moment. Okay, let's keep in mind that we are talking about the man-made clock instrument, not the real vibrational frequency of the actual sun movement. My question is, was moments changed to hours and seconds were changed to minutes? The definition for moment from Strong's Concordance is H259, meaning one, first, only, each. At that one time, that moment is the only number that can be distinctly looked at. That moment. Seconds mean double. Second, again, other, a second time, and that is H8145 in the Strong's Concordance. I must ask another question. Are there 60 minutes or seconds in an hour, or are there 90 seconds in an hour, which is a total of 36 seconds per hour? Were minutes another concoction used to misconstrue time on a clock? Even more, minutes do not have anything to do with clock time or the created method of clock time. Minutes are used in settings where people come together to have meetings, discussions about an agenda that they are dealing with. And time is documented to explain what took place in the time frame of their meeting. So minutes is something that was included in the clock time to justify minutes, seconds were changed to minutes. And I just wanted to, share some of that information. And also, one more thing I want to say about seconds. Seconds are intermittent. It's an intermittent vibrations that it's like a heartbeat drumming again and again to fulfill the cycle in concert with the vibrational movement of the sun tracking across the atmosphere. Like seconds is doom, 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 just like a heartbeat. And because we are one with nature, when I compare the other things in nature, such as a normal heart rate. Mayo Clinic says a normal heart rate is 60 to 80 beats per minute for a normal resting rate, depending on if you're standing up, lying down, sitting, or moving around. The medical industry gives an estimate of what they say is a normal heart rate. I think that estimate is used to diagnose symptoms of abnormalities. If the heart rate is too low or too high based on their system of diagnosis. Just my opinion again. There is a switching between 60 and 90. In this study observation, I shall conclude with more evidence proving that time is that 9 is universal, the universal number of perfection and completion. Stay tuned. I'm going to have to do another part to this, and I hope you come back and join in, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Peace.